Let me be completely honest with you. When I first decided to set up a turtle tank, I thought it would be simple. Maybe a cute little bowl, some water, a plastic palm tree. I was so wrong, it's almost embarrassing. Turns out, turtles need one of the most complex habitat setups of any pet you can bring home. I'm Mariana Vasquez, and today we're walking through everything you actually need to create a proper turtle habitat. The basking platforms, the UVB systems, the filtration that actually works, and the water depth requirements that change depending on which species you're keeping. You're listening to the Pet Parent Podcast. Quick heads up before we dive in. Everything you're about to hear is researched, fact-checked, and written by real people who actually know this stuff, but the voice you're hearing is AI-generated. We think it's a pretty cool way to get solid information to you faster, but we wanted to be upfront about it. Now, if you've been listening to this show for a while, thank you, really. It's great knowing these episodes are actually useful to people trying to do right by their animals. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm glad the algorithm or a friend or however you found us actually worked out. We release new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, covering all the real-world pet care topics that actually matter. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Whether you're bringing home a red-eared slider hatchling or adopting an adult painted turtle, this is the comprehensive checklist that covers all the essentials your shelled friend needs for a healthy, enriching habitat from day one. Now, let's start with tank size and water volume, because getting this right is the foundation of everything else. Too small, and you're constantly fighting water quality issues. Trust me, the struggle is real. For hatchlings, baby turtles under 4 inches, you need at least a 40-gallon aquarium, though honestly, going larger saves you from upgrading 6 months later when they hit their growth spurt. I learned that lesson the expensive way. For adult sizing, use the 10-gallon rule, 10 gallons of water per inch of shell length. So a 6-inch adult red-eared slider needs a 60-gallon tank minimum, while larger species, like common snapping turtles, require 120 gallons or more. Here's something people get wrong all the time. Length matters way more than depth. Choose tanks that are longer and wider rather than tall. Turtles are horizontal swimmers who need floor space to move, not vertical water columns to stare at. And plan for adult size, not current size. That adorable quarter-size hatchling will likely reach 8 to 12 inches within a few years, depending on species. So either invest in the adult-size tank now or budget for the inevitable upgrade. For turtles that exceed 10 inches, like common cooters or soft-shell turtles, a 100 to 300-gallon stock tank or custom indoor pond often makes more practical and financial sense than massive glass aquariums. One more thing to remember, when you're calculating gallons, only measure the water portion. The basking platform takes up tank real estate but doesn't count toward the livable aquatic space your turtle needs. Moving on to water depth, and this is where species-specific research becomes critical. Not all turtles are confident deep water swimmers, and getting the depth wrong creates genuine safety risks. Red-eared sliders, painted turtles, and cooters are strong swimmers. They thrive in water that's 1.5 to 2 times their shell length deep, so a 6-inch slider does well in 9 to 12 inches of water, giving them room to dive and explore. But musk and mud turtles? Totally different story. These bottom walkers prefer shallower setups with water depth equal to or just slightly deeper than their shell length, 4 to 6 inches for adults. They're not built for constant swimming and can tire easily. Soft-shell turtles, despite their aquatic nature, appreciate moderate depths of 8 to 12 inches with plenty of floor space, since they spend significant time buried in substrate hunting for food. And here's something really important for hatchlings. Baby turtles tire quickly, so keep water depth around 5 to 6 inches maximum, regardless of species, until they develop stronger swimming muscles. Watching a hatchling struggle to reach the surface for air is genuinely stressful.
Even strong swimmers benefit from a shallow wading area. Include a gradual depth slope or stacked rocks, creating a shallow zone where they can rest while remaining submerged, similar to how wild turtles use pond shallows. Let's talk about the basking platform now, because this is where turtles dry off, thermoregulate, and absorb essential UVB radiation. Skimping here leads to shell rot, metabolic bone disease, and miserable turtles. The platform must allow your turtle to get completely out of the water with zero submersion. Partially wet basking defeats the entire purpose of drying the shell to prevent bacterial and fungal growth. The surface needs to be textured and non-slip. Smooth surfaces create climbing struggles. Go for natural cork bark, slate tiles, or commercial basking docks with textured surfaces that give wet turtle feet something to grip. Size it for your turtle's full body, plus about 30% extra. Your turtle should fit completely on the platform with room to turn around. Overcrowded basking areas cause turtles to skip basking sessions, which cascades into health problems. And they need easy access, a gentle ramp with a maximum 30-degree angle, or stacked stones creating a gradual approach. Turtles aren't great climbers. They can't scale a vertical wall. The platform has to be stable and secure. It must be anchored firmly enough that it won't tip when your turtle climbs aboard. Suction cups work for small turtles, but larger species need weighted or tank rim mounted platforms. Check the link below to see the current price on options like the Penplax Turtle Topper above tank basking platform. Position the platform directly under your heat lamp and UVB bulb so your turtle receives proper temperature gradient and UV exposure while basking. Placement matters as much as the platform itself. The basking surface should hit 85 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Most aquatic turtles need 88 to 92 degrees. Use a digital thermometer with a probe placed directly on the platform's surface, not measuring air temperature above it. Now we get to UVB lighting, and this is where I see the most dangerous shortcuts. Turtles absolutely require UVB radiation to synthesize vitamin D3 and metabolize calcium. Without it, you're looking at metabolic bone disease within months.
Look for bulbs specifically rated at 10.0 or 12% UVB. That percentage refers to UVB radiation output. This provides the intensity aquatic turtle species need. Lower outputs meant for tropical lizards won't cut it. You want linear fluorescent or mercury vapor bulbs. Linear tube fixtures provide even coverage across the basking area, while mercury vapor bulbs combine UVB and heat in one unit, though they run hotter and require careful distance management. Distance matters enormously because UVB intensity decreases rapidly the farther you get from the source. Most 10% linear bulbs need to be 10 to 12 inches from the basking surface, while mercury vapor bulbs require 12 to 18 inches depending on wattage. Check manufacturer's specifications religiously. Here's something that catches people off guard. You need to replace these bulbs every 6 to 12 months. UVB output degrades long before the bulb burns out. Even though the light still glows, UVB radiation drops to ineffective levels after 6 to 12 months of use. So mark your calendar for replacement dates. And make sure there are no glass or plastic barriers between the bulb and your turtle. UVB radiation doesn't penetrate glass or most plastics. If you're using a mesh tank lid, verify it's UVB transparent. Metal mesh works. Fine plastic mesh often blocks UVB entirely. Turtles need consistent day-night cycles. Use a timer to provide 12 to 14 hours of UVB exposure daily, mimicking natural sunlight patterns and supporting healthy circadian rhythms. Unless you're using a mercury vapor combo bulb, you'll need a separate heat lamp, ceramic heat emitter, or incandescent bulb in addition to your UVB source. UVB bulbs alone don't generate sufficient warmth for proper basking temperatures.
Let's move to filtration, because turtle filtration is no joke. These animals are messy eaters and prolific poopers, creating waste loads 3 to 4 times higher than fish of equivalent size. Inadequate filtration turns your tank into a bacterial soup within days. Choose a filter rated for 2 to 3 times your actual water volume. If your tank holds 75 gallons of water, get a filter rated for 150 to 225 gallons. Turtles produce exponentially more waste than fish, and undersized filters get overwhelmed quickly, leading to ammonia spikes and sick turtles. For tanks over 55 gallons, canister filters provide superior mechanical and biological filtration compared to hang-on back models. They handle higher waste loads with better flow rates. Your filter needs all 3 stages of filtration: mechanical media like sponges to trap particulates, biological media like ceramic rings to house beneficial bacteria that process ammonia, and chemical media like activated carbon to remove dissolved organics and odors.
Look for filters with adjustable flow rates. Strong currents exhaust turtles, especially weaker swimmers. Add a spray bar attachment if needed to diffuse the output current across the water surface, rather than creating a directed jet. Adding a coarse sponge over the intake prevents baby turtles from getting sucked against the intake tube and provides extra mechanical filtration. Never clean all your filter media at once. You'll destroy the beneficial bacteria colony that processes waste. Clean mechanical media weekly in old tank water, replace chemical media monthly, and rinse biological media quarterly at most. Large tanks benefit from a small power head or wave maker, creating additional water circulation in dead zones where debris accumulates. Now, let's talk heating equipment for water temperature, because temperature regulation keeps your turtle's immune system functioning and metabolism running properly. Cold water leads to respiratory infections and appetite loss faster than you'd expect. Choose a fully submersible aquarium heater with wattage appropriate for your water volume. General rule is 5 watts per gallon, so a 75-gallon tank needs a 375-watt heater, or 2 200-watt heaters for redundancy. Most species do well at 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Red-eared sliders, painted turtles, and nap turtles thrive at 76 to 78 degrees, while more tropical species prefer 78 to 80. Research your specific species since there's surprising variation. Get a heater guard to prevent burns and breakage. Turtles will absolutely bash into, scratch at, and attempt to sit on heaters. A protective cage prevents both thermal burns to your turtle and cracked glass heater tubes that leak electricity into the water. Yes, it happens. Never trust the heater's built-in thermostat alone. Use a separate digital aquarium thermometer placed away from the heater to verify actual water temperature throughout the tank. Position the heater near your filter's output flow to help distribute heated water throughout the tank more evenly. Water quality and conditioner requirements are non-negotiable. Tap water straight from the faucet contains chlorine, chloramine, and heavy metals that harm turtles and destroy the beneficial bacteria in your filter. Use an aquarium water conditioner that neutralizes both chlorine and chloramine before adding tap water to your tank. Products like API tap water conditioner work within minutes and are concentrated enough that a small bottle lasts months. Remove and replace 25 to 50% of tank water every week to dilute accumulated nitrates and dissolved organics. More frequent partial changes maintain better water quality than infrequent large changes that shock your turtle with parameter swings. Use liquid test kits, they're more accurate than strips, to monitor ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, and pH monthly. Ammonia and nitrite should both be 0. Keep nitrate below 40 parts per million. pH should stay between 7.0 and 8.0 for most species.
Don't just siphon surface water during water changes. Use an aquarium gravel vacuum to pull water from the substrate level, sucking up accumulated waste, uneaten food, and debris that contribute to poor water quality.
Match the temperature when adding new water. It should be within 2 to 3 degrees of existing tank temperature to avoid thermal shock. I heat replacement water in clean buckets using an extra aquarium heater before adding it to the tank. If your tap water has extreme hardness, high mineral content, or persistent chemical additives beyond chlorine, you might need to invest in a reverse osmosis filter system or buy RO water for tank maintenance, especially for delicate species like soft shells. Substrate choice is surprisingly controversial in turtle keeping. There are legitimate pros and cons to each approach, and honestly, I've flip-flopped on this myself. Many turtle keepers skip substrate entirely and go bare bottom. It makes it easier to spot waste during cleaning and ensures nothing hides to decompose, though the aesthetic is decidedly sterile and turtles lose foraging enrichment. If you want a natural look, use smooth river stones, at least twice the size of your turtle's head, to prevent accidental ingestion. Turtles absolutely will try to eat gravel, and intestinal impaction requires emergency surgery. Species that naturally bury themselves, soft shells and musk turtles, benefit from a 2 to 3 inch layer of fine aquarium sand that allows natural burrowing behavior, though sand requires more careful maintenance to prevent anaerobic dead spots. Avoid small gravel entirely. Standard aquarium gravel is a genuine hazard. Turtles mistake it for food, swallow it, and end up with blockages that can be fatal. Large slate tiles or flat river rocks create a natural-looking bottom that's easier to clean than loose substrate, while still providing visual interest and a less slippery surface than bare glass. Let's talk about temperature gradient and cooling zones. Turtles are ectothermic. They can't regulate body temperature internally and rely entirely on environmental temperature zones to thermoregulate. You need to provide options. The section of tank farthest from heaters and basking lamps should maintain the lower end of your species' temperature range, 75 to 78 degrees for the cool end water. This gives your turtle a place to cool down if they overheat. The basking spot should hit 85 to 95 degrees, typically 88 to 92 for most aquatic turtles. Measure with a surface thermometer directly on the platform, not air temperature above it. The air temperature in the enclosed space above the water should stay in the mid to upper 70s. Too cold and turtles won't want to bask, too hot and they overheat. Place thermometers in different zones, one at the cool end, one at the warm end, and one measuring basking surface temperature so you can verify the gradient is working properly. Eyeballing it doesn't work. If your home gets cold in winter or hot in summer, you may need to adjust heater settings or add cooling fans seasonally to maintain proper temperature ranges. Now, tank cover and lighting hood setup. You need some way to support lighting and prevent escapes, but traditional glass lids create major problems for turtle setups. Metal screen lids allow UVB radiation to pass through while providing structural support for lights and preventing jumpers. Yes, turtles will climb out if they can. Avoid glass or solid plastic lids that block essential UVB. For non-standard tank sizes or above-tank basking platforms, building a simple wood frame screen top using aluminum mesh gives you perfect fit and UVB transparency for under $30 in materials. Secure all openings. Turtles are surprisingly strong and determined escape artists. Any gap in your lid needs to be either too small to fit through, less than half their shell width, or secured with clips that prevent lifting. Good airflow prevents excessive condensation and maintains air quality. Mount heat and UVB lamps securely either on the screen lid using clamp fixtures with appropriate weight distribution or on stands positioned over the basking area. Dangling lights from ceiling hooks works but makes maintenance awkward. Here's something that requires patience but is absolutely essential: cycled tank preparation before adding your turtle. Adding a turtle to an uncycled tank means exposing them to toxic ammonia and nitrite levels that cause serious illness. Beneficial bacteria colonies need 4 to 8 weeks to establish in your filter media. These bacteria convert toxic ammonia from waste into nitrite, then into less harmful nitrate. This biological filtration system is what makes water safe long-term. You can do fishless cycling by adding pure ammonia or fish food to the empty tank to feed bacteria growth without endangering animals. Test water daily until you see ammonia spike, then drop to 0 as nitrite rises, then nitrite drops and nitrate appears. Expect 4 to 8 weeks before adding your turtle. I know waiting is rough when you have an adorable turtle sitting in a temporary container, but cycling cannot be rushed safely. Using bacterial starter products may shorten the cycle to 3 or 4 weeks, but won't eliminate it entirely. Keep your turtle in a large plastic storage bin with shallow water, basic heat lamp, and daily 100% water changes while their permanent tank cycles. It's not ideal long-term, but it's safer than ammonia exposure. Your tank is cycled when you can add ammonia and see it convert to nitrate within 24 hours with 0 detectable ammonia or nitrite. Only then is it safe to move your turtle permanently. Once all the technical requirements are met, you can add decorations, plants, and enrichment items. This transforms a functional tank into an engaging habitat that supports natural behaviors.
Turtles decimate plants, but fast-growing species like Java fern, Amazon sword, or hornwort provide hiding spots, improve water quality, and offer occasional nibbling for omnivorous turtles. Expect to replace them periodically. High-quality silk or plastic plants give visual appeal and hiding spots without dying. Ensure they're firmly weighted or secured so turtles can't dislodge them. Turtles appreciate having retreat spaces. Large PVC pipe sections, stacked slate caves, or commercial reptile hides give them security. Watching a turtle wedge themselves into an impossibly small cave never gets old. Floating logs, feeding platforms, or scattered hide-and-seek food encourage natural foraging behaviors beyond just dumping pellets on the surface. Inspect all decorations for rough edges that could scratch shells or small detachable pieces turtles might swallow. If it fits in their mouth, assume they'll try to eat it. Let me give you a final checklist before we wrap up, so you can make absolutely sure you've got everything in place. For tank and structure, you need an appropriately sized tank, 10 gallons per inch of shell, proper water depth for your species, a stable basking platform with a dry surface, and a secure screen top or custom lid. For temperature and lighting, get a submersible heater with a guard. Verify water temperature stays between 75 and 80 degrees. Set up a basking heat lamp creating 88 to 92 degrees surface temp. Position a 10 to 12% UVB bulb properly, and place thermometers in multiple zones. For filtration and water quality, choose a filter rated for 2 to 3 times your tank volume, get water conditioner for chlorine removal, pick up a test kit for ammonia, nitrate, nitrate, and pH, grab a gravel vacuum for substrate cleaning, and establish the nitrogen cycle for 4 to 8 weeks before adding your turtle. Optional but recommended items include making your substrate choice or going bare bottom, securing plants and decorations, having a backup heater or thermometer, and using a timer for the lighting photo period. Let me answer a few questions that come up all the time. Can you use a stock tank instead of a glass aquarium for your turtle? Yes, absolutely. Stock tanks, those large plastic tubs used for livestock, make excellent turtle habitats, especially for large adults. They're durable, hold massive water volumes from 100 to 300 gallons, cost significantly less than glass aquariums of equivalent size, and the opaque walls reduce stress for shy turtles. You'll need to get creative with basking platform mounting, since stock tanks lack rim edges for commercial basking docks, but DIY solutions using PVC platforms or above-tank basking ramps work beautifully. Just ensure the stock tank is food-grade plastic to avoid chemical leaching. How do you clean a turtle tank without destroying the beneficial bacteria? Clean your tank in stages rather than all at once.
During weekly water changes, vacuum the substrate or wipe the bare bottom, clean algae from glass, and rinse the filter's mechanical media, sponges and pads, in old tank water you've siphoned out, not tap water that would kill beneficial bacteria. Never clean biological filter media like ceramic rings at the same time you clean mechanical media. Alternate them every other week. The beneficial bacteria colony primarily lives in your filter's biological media and substrate, so as long as you're not bleaching those surfaces or replacing all media simultaneously, the colony survives regular maintenance. Do baby turtles need different equipment than adult turtles? Baby turtles need the same equipment categories, filtration, heating, UVB, basking, but with adjusted specifications. They require shallower water, 5 to 6 inches regardless of species, proportionately smaller basking platforms they can actually climb onto, and identical temperature and UVB requirements as adults. The biggest difference is you can start hatchlings in smaller tanks, 40 gallons minimum, knowing you'll upgrade as they grow, whereas adults need their full-size setup from day one. Don't fall for those tiny turtle bowl kits marketed for hatchlings. They're fundamentally inadequate and create the exact health problems you're trying to avoid. Setting up a proper turtle tank is genuinely more complex than I expected when I first ventured beyond my guinea pig comfort zone. The equipment list is longer, the nitrogen cycle adds weeks of waiting, and the ongoing maintenance is substantial. But watching a healthy turtle confidently swimming through clean water, hauling themselves onto their basking platform under proper UVB, and displaying natural behaviors in a well-designed habitat, that's the reward that makes the setup effort worthwhile. Your turtle can't tell you when something's wrong with their environment. They just gradually stop eating, develop shell problems, or suffer respiratory infections from inadequate care. Get the fundamentals right from the start, and you're setting up both yourself and your shelled companion for years of successful keeping, rather than months of frustration and vet bills.
That's it for this episode of the Pet Parent Podcast. Thanks for listening all the way through. Just a reminder that we've got new episodes dropping every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so there's always something new coming your way. If you found this helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave a 5-star rating and write a quick review. I know everyone asks for that, but it genuinely makes a difference. It's how other people who are searching for good pet care info actually find the show, instead of getting buried under a million other podcasts. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe or follow so you get notified the second a new episode goes live. Catch you next time.